All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you can join us on a Tuesday. And, you know, it's kind of a sad time we're in now if you were a big fan of the Hard Rock as I was. I enjoyed going to the Joint back in the day. I've seen so many great concerts at the Joint and other venues at the Hard Rock as well. Great restaurants. It was always that kind of young, hip atmosphere there. In fact, recently I went to the AVN Expo, the porn expo at the Hard Rock, and now it's gone. Now everything's gone. The reason for that, Virgin has taken it over. Richard Branson and his Virgin company have officially taken it over, and the person we have in studio right now has been at Hard Rock. She is the former box office manager there and a friend, and she's actually helped get into some pretty cool concerts there as well, so I have to thank her for that. Dianna Arnson joining us in studio. Dianna, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
You're welcome. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm sorry that before we get to some stories about the Hard Rock, if you can share with us, I mean, is there any chance that you're going to be still working there when Virgin takes it over? Like, what are they telling employees?
They're not telling us much, actually. So
that's an uneasy feeling.
It's very.
Come on,
unnerving.
Richard Branson, take care of people.
Okay, so it's actually not even Richard Branson that people don't even understand. Yeah,
I don't understand. I'm stupid.
There's so many pieces in the mix, but
did they go bankrupt or what exactly? Why was this? Why did they decide to sell to Richard Branson and Virgin? Do you have any idea?
It's actually sold to a group. JC Hospitality is the one that owns it. So Richard Bosworth, he's the face of JC Hospitality, and then their Virgin is going to be running and operating it along with Hilton Signature something.
Well, let me, and you can tell me if you agree or disagree on this, Dana. Let me try to answer your question a little bit. So I never criticized the shows they had there, the entertainment, and I'm not saying that just because you were here. You know, I went to a ton of concerts there at the Hard Rock. I love the music they played there. I love the shows. In my personal opinion, this property has been completely mismanaged, from the clubs to an extent to the gaming. Now, the problem I see is they didn't get big gamblers into there. A lot of these younger guys and girls that were going there, they went to rehab, they went to party and drink and have a good time. The gambling never worked there. I think that was the big problem. And the other problem is they make this new hotel there years back, right? The second wing of the hotel. They lost money on that deal. It was a bad business decision. So I think bad business decisions, along with the fact that there are so many other places for big shark gamblers to play at, that to me, that is the reason why it was, in my opinion, mismanaged. Would you agree with that, or what would you?
No, I do agree with that. And there was different owners and operators and VPs or CEOs that was just turned over,
right?
Ever since Morton's left. So after the Mortons left, that's it just was this constant snowball of new people, and they had new ideas and reinventing and rebranding and everything. And after that, it's it still had the atmosphere, but you're right. It was, I feel it was somewhat mismanaged.
I can't even imagine how many great stories you have as being a box office manager. One of the perks of your job, it's kind of like what we do. We get to go to all these great events and meet. I become friends with, like, one of my favorite bands growing up is Filter.
Yeah.
And I remember it was a show that you were at too. The lead singer of that band is Richard Patrick.
Yeah.
And so we met him backstage. We were hanging out for like an hour. Richard's a great guy, big liberal, hates Trump and all that, but great guy. So I'm at his concert and he invites me to the show. And he starts having a conversation with me in the middle of the show. He's like,
I remember
that's Brian Shapiro up there. And I'm
like, at Brooklyn Bowl, I think, yeah.
But that's just an example of like cool things you never forget for the rest of your life. I would imagine you probably have 100 stories like that.
I have so many stories.
So give me like one that is in your mind forever that you'll never forget.
Well, there's just so many, like some little ones. When we had the first Guns N' Roses residency,
I remember that. That was awesome.
That was when Axl was, known for going on late or not going on at all, and my staff called me down to the box office and said, "Hey, there's a guest here that wants a refund because he doesn't think Axl's going to go on stage." I'm like, okay, well, all right, let me see what we can do. And I came down and I'm like, "Sir, I cannot refund your tickets because you think Axl is not going to go on stage. I can refund them if he actually doesn't go on stage." But and then there were casino tickets anyway, so he got them for free. And then he threw them in my face and walked away.
Oh, how nice is that?
And then later he went, and then Axl went on like maybe 15 minutes after that. But
So
those were
here's
some
what-
of the longest shows ever.
The guy probably lost a lot of money on the casino floor. He's probably a degenerate gambler. He got comp tickets from a host. So I've never heard of anyone that gets a comp to a show and wants their money back. That makes no sense to me at all. What did he expect you would be able to do for him? Here you go. Here's a couple $100. Even you didn't pay for the tickets. What a douche.
Oh, we got that all the time too. People that would buy tickets off of StubHub or something like that and want a refund. Like, we don't have your money. We can't refund you
That's so
money that we
annoying.
don't have. Yeah.
So how about dealing with, like, I know you didn't deal with a lot of the stuff that was going on backstage, but I would imagine because of what you did as a box office manager, you did get into some situations, I'm sure, where you were hanging out with some of the performers. Like, do you have any stories where you can recall hanging out with someone and meeting somebody that you've always looked up to because of your job?
I can't, not anybody that I, really liked or wanted to meet or anything. But I did get the opportunity to meet, like, the guys from Def Leppard when we had the Def Leppard residency. They were always walking around. They were in the EDR and, eating with the staff or anything like that. And they were just so nice. And they would always come by and say hello.
That's cool.
And where our office was.
They didn't ask you to pour sugar on them or anything, or no?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, no,
All right.
no.
Fair
But
enough.
they were so nice, and they had a party for our staff and our department at the end of the residency. We had a beach party and stuff, and
Oh, that's so cool.
was a lot of
Well,
fun.
that's nice to hear. I've
Cool.
heard
Yeah.
those guys are good dudes.
they're good dudes. I didn't get to interact with Axel much at all, but like DJ Ashba and Bumblefoot and them, they were really nice. Gene Simmons, he would always come by our office.
Is he touchy-feely? Gene
No,
Simmons? No,
not really,
He was
no.
pretty cool.
Yeah, really nice.
I remember I met Kiss when they were doing a show over there. That was actually a pretty cool experience. JD, go ahead. You had something you want.
No, did you meet like Shaq or anybody like that who performed at rehab?
I did not. I wasn't too involved with the rehab side of things. Well, at one point we did sell tickets for the hotel guests through our box office for rehab. One of the worst days of my box office life was doing that.
What do you think happened to rehab? Because at one point it was the most famous. They had a reality show, of course.
Right.
It was the most famous pool party of all time, and then over months, years, it just fizzled into nothing. What happened to rehab?
Well, like you said earlier, just mismanagement, I think, and trying to rebrand it, and people had different ideas of where they wanted it to go, and also the price of the entertainment and things that they wanted to pay. They really couldn't get the class acts, but
Yep.
also they. The other day clubs and
Yeah,
stuff would take all the lock in the.
Sure.
I think Encore
Acts
Beach
for a
Club
while.
happened to rehab.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're just joining us, we're
Yeah.
speaking with Dianna Arnson, former box office manager at the Hard Rock for 8 years. And as you know, the Hard Rock just closed down not that long ago, turning into a casino owned by Virgin. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the property is going to turn into. I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the people that I've always wanted to meet that I've been able to meet because of the Hard Rock. And I remember Billy Bob Thornton and the Boxmasters, they performed at the old joint. There was the old joint and the new joint. Well, now it's no joint. But I was able to meet Billy Bob Thornton and talk with him. And this is a guy that, and he came on our show actually a few months ago. He's a guy that I always looked up to as just a great actor. But then when I just started hanging out with him, he's just a regular dude. He's just a cool, fun guy to talk to and hang out with. Loves talking about music. Doesn't enjoy talking about his movie
He's just a
career.
very, very bad Santa. Oh.
But I met him in the poker room at the Hard Rock. He was
Yeah.
sitting there playing poker. It was not a high stakes game, and I'm sitting about 2 seats away from him. I'm dying just to get on that table, and I did because the people at the Hard Rock there who ran the poker room at that time knew me, and they knew I did radio and stuff. And I'm just sitting there shooting the you know what with Billy Bob Thornton. I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. Also, the first time that I saw Chester Bennington and Lincoln Park was at the joint, the new joint at the Hard Rock. I had never.
That was one of my shows that I
Yeah,
was
and I think you probably got me tickets to that show.
Probably, yeah.
And hanging out and seeing Chester perform, I can see why Lincoln Park was such a popular group for such a long period of time, because not only do they have so many great songs, but I was blown away by their live performance.
Yeah.
The energy that Chester had on stage was unbelievable, and it's so sad when I heard about that. And and then I saw Chester with Stone Temple Pilots for a short period of time. He was the lead singer of Stone Temple Pilots. That's when I actually got a chance to meet him, and I'll never forget it. He's just a gentle human being, just no ego, just gentle guy. And I said, hey, when are you going to be playing these songs for STP? And he looked at me and he goes, man, I could barely remember the lyrics to Linkin Park. I'm going to have to learn the lyrics to all these STP songs. But he was just so genuine, and so cool. And of course, when the porn awards came to the Hard Rock, that was quite, that must have been crazy for you.
8 years of whipping stations right outside my office. That's where the lair was. So that's where, all the fetish type stuff, the whips and the paddles and
all the Brian stuff.
Yeah, everything Brian would like is up there.
Right.
That's not true.
Everything Brian.
Only if JD is performing the acts on me. That's
do you
all
think that the AVNs and the Adult Expo actually helped or hurt the Hard Rock?
Oh, it helps. Yeah. And I believe they're still coming back. So that's one of the reasons.
The AVNs at Virgin? That is irony.
Yeah,
if I've
isn't
ever
it?
heard it before.
Yeah.
Boy, the irony of that, huh?
Yeah.
The irony of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
As far as I know, they were advertising at the end of this year that they'll be here, same place, new name.
So let me ask you this:
slogan.
You've had to deal with, I'm sure, a lot of VIP guests and stuff like that. Not only big casino gamblers and stuff like that, but have you had to deal with like celebrities, like people? Can you give me a story or something where you had to take care of a celebrity that was going to see a show?
Floyd Mayweather liked to come to the joint a lot, and he was.
I would imagine he
he's a
didn't
little
go
difficult.
to see I would imagine he didn't see the country concerts. It wasn't those type of events that he went.
No, I can't even remember the last one he was at.
So how's he
it was just
difficult?
recently.
Give me an example.
Well, because he has. Well, they'll call us and say, okay, he's coming, and he's got 7 people, and they want a suite.
Oh, God.
I'm like, okay. It was.
So do you
it was a
comp him?
sold out show.
How do you charge Floyd Mayweather for that, or do you comp him because he's a famous celebrity? How does that work?
That's actually above my pay grade. So
you don't do
I
he's
go
comp. So he's
to.
definitely comp then.
I'll go to the promoter if it's AEG or Live Nation and say, and my boss and say, okay, what are we doing with his tickets? Do we have availability? Do we have a suite for him or whatever? But then it's always like 7 turns into 17. So they'll come in and stuff like that. And
so he was difficult. In what way?
That's always an interesting dynamic. The wealthiest people seem to always want everything for free.
That does happen a lot. So what did he do that was difficult? They just changed the number of how many people that he brought with him?
It changes, and then other people, because he likes walking through the front door, and let's see, or they'll want to buy food or want to buy bottle service and things which we don't have in there, and we
he wants bottle
that,
service at a concert.
And we don't allow the glass bottles and stuff or in the suites or on the floor or anything because they turn into weapons. And
valid.
And there's just a lot of it's a lot of people to assist his group. But.
So do you have an idea what's going to happen transition wise as far as what to the rehab, to the joint, et cetera, some of the former restaurants and venues at Hard Rock, what that's now going to turn into with Virgin?
I don't know a lot. Well, I know the joint is going to be run by AEG. Mm-hmm. They haven't given us a lot of information at all. So as far as the pool, I believe that's getting completely revamped and redone. The main casino pool won't be like the Paradise Beach or whatever, or North Beach. It'll be a different area, but they're going to blow that up and redo it. In a way,
this is sad, though, isn't it? It's sad because
it's very sad.
Yeah, because this was 8 years of your life there, and the Hard Rock has a lot of history. It's got a lot of history. They filmed some movies there. I remember one of my favorite episodes of Entourage was filmed there. That was by far one of my favorite episodes. Yeah. But a lot of memorabilia there. What are they doing with all the memorabilia?
Some of it it's on loan, so it'll get returned back to the artists that loaned it to us. Some of it was purchased by the new owners. And then I honestly don't know what's happening with the rest of it, storage or liquidation. I'm not sure at all. But yeah, it's like our final party weekend that we had.
Which I wasn't invited to, by the way.
The whole town was invited, Brian.
I wasn't invited. I'm not important enough. Wasn't invited to the party.
Well, Brian means he didn't want to pay.
It was
free.
free.
It was free. It was free.
They were doing, drink specials from 1995 and
That's
everything.
cool.
Anyway, it was a lot of fun. But it was so packed in there, and it was like the Hard Rock used to be. Like even when I went there before I worked there, as you know, the center bar was full. There was music going. It was, the people drinking and having a good time. It was like it used to be, and it was just packed. And then this is the way. This is what Hard Rock was known for and should be. And now it's going away. That atmosphere is going away, and it was iconic here. And people,
there's a lot of history. You're right.
A lot of history, and it's very meaningful to a lot of people. Like my staff, we just had a party the other night, and they were telling me stories about how it meant everything to them, like Hard Rock and the music and the concerts, and that's what got
I used to
them
love
through
Lucky's.
stuff.
I used to love Lucky's. We used to go there to the cafe in the middle of the night there and have the 777 special. The restaurants there were always really good. I always enjoyed the steakhouse there, and the food was good. The service was always good. I ran so bad there on the casino floor. I don't think I ever won a gambling session there, but I always enjoyed going there, and that's how I met Steve Sear, former host over there at Hard Rock, and that's how I became friends with him.
And you played that special poker game, right? That you played with your former roommate Sanford. Talk about that poker game that you played there.
I don't remember
on Tuesday nights.
Yeah. Well, that's for people that like poker. We started a game called Trash Talk Tuesdays. It was when you sit at the poker table and you have to trash talk people and call them names and insult them.
See, I think that's wonderful.
That's funny.
That was right up my alley, by the way. I was very good at that. That shouldn't be a shocker to most. But, the poker room back then was really hopping, and then kind of like how everything gets mismanaged at the Hard Rock, not the box office, everything else. Kind of like how that stuff was getting. Maybe that's Richard Branson, by the way, that's calling you right now.
That's definitely Richard Branson.
If it's Richard Branson, please answer it. All right, here's what we're going to do. I want Dianna to stick around. It is going to be the portion of the show where we're going to read off some hate mail that I've received today, and it's Jason Stein, our producer, enjoys it. It's the only part of the day where he actually laughs. So I want Dianna to stick around for this. She's Dianna Arnson. She is a former box office manager there at the Hard Rock, now going to be turning into the Virgin. We'll talk about that a little bit more with her and read some hate mail coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, K-Dawn. Okay, that's one band I do not want to see. That would be Third Eye Blind. I'm not a big Third Eye Blind fan. I've seen a lot of great shows I've seen a lot of great shows. Sounds like he's
how about
whining.
Slow Motion, Brian?
I'm not into Third Eye Blind. And by the way, the lead singer's a jerk. I've met him before. He's a complete ass.
So the real reason comes out. He didn't treat you well.
He's an ass. Okay. No, but I've never bought.
Which makes him not talented.
I've never said that, but I don't like their music. There's a lot of music I don't like. I wouldn't say they're not talented. I don't like country music, because Shania Twain's extremely talented. Wouldn't buy one of her albums. I don't like country music. So nice try trying to pin me in a corner. Anyway, welcome back to the show. It is Sharp and Shapiro, the Vegas Take. We got Dianna in studio, former box office manager for the Hard Rock. I wanted Dianna to stay in for this because I wanted you to see how much my producer hates me and how much he enjoys reading hate mail that I get every day.
I can't wait.
And the comments we have on our YouTube page. So, Jason, go ahead and take it away. I know how much you enjoy this.
Well, I call it hate mail, but it's not really mail. It's the comments that scroll.
I've gotten mail, though.
We have gotten mail. We have one guy that wrote us, those serial killer type notes, where you cut out of a magazine, where you cut out of the magazine like the different letters, the uppercase and the lowercase, and he pasted it all. It probably took a long time. He pasted it all together, and he came up with his own radio show that was going to replace your show, which I enjoyed. That was good too. But this is not actual snail mail. These are comments that scroll along the side. Now, there is one conspicuously missing, Kelso, the one we were reading earlier where it says Brian needs to wash himself. Can you find that one for me? Because it was there and now it's not. Anyway, but that's okay. There are plenty of other ones. Okay, here.
Fine.
For example,
have at it. Have a party.
Sharon writes, Brian, we all realize you're bald, right? Referring to the stupid wig that you're wearing on your head.
Well, word is she's not bald. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Christopher writes, WTF are you wearing on your head?
WTF are you wearing on your head?
Yeah, what are you wearing?
It's a hat. I'm wearing a hat on my head.
Here, Jason,
that's what I'm wearing.
I want Jason to read
that's a
this
stupid
one.
question.
This is by far. Thank you, Kel, for finding that.
Which one? Which
one?
The
one with the green emoji, the pukey emoji there. Could you read that, Jason? This is my favorite.
This is Callisto. He says, "Look at this man wearing." He spelled wearing wrong. Wearing the same clothes as yesterday. ... I can smell you through the damn screen. And this is the best part. Go wash your balls.
I'll have his mom do it for me.
Something I have actually said to Brian several times when we've been hanging out outside of the studio.
Dianna, have you ever been on a date with a man and you told him to wash his balls? Is that too personal of a question?
I can't recall a time that I've done that.
Fair enough. Sorry.
I have a standard, so I think they're already, pre-washed.
Have you been on a date with a man and you've wondered if his testicles don't smell, up to your standards?
She's like, I'm looking for a job here. Yeah, all right.
That's the best question JD's ever asked, by the way.
That's funny.
That was a fantastic question.
I'm just really glad that the smell-o-vision is not a thing at the moment.
For the record, I did wash them this morning. Go ahead.
Thank you, Brian.
Go ahead, yes.
Okay, and then this one is actually the other ones I wouldn't consider hate mail. They're like just making fun of Brian. This one actually is hate mail. Someone, again, this is an anonymous person, but they write, of course, a Jew would defend another slick Jew. I think that's when we were talking was I talking about Bloomberg?
Yeah. I don't know. And by the way, I wasn't defending him.
Earlier in the show?
I don't even know what this guy's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know either.
That guy needs
to
go.
But it came in during that time when we were talking about Mike Bloomberg.
I think that guy's name is the Grand Wizard, and I think he's going to be late to his Klan meeting tonight. Does
it say David Duke next to his name?
By the way.
No, it doesn't have a name. Look, it's just a blank.
Oh, really?
Did I defend Bloomberg at all? I was the opposite of what he said.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't defend Bloomberg. I'm against what is it? What
Stop and frisk.
Yeah, I was against. What is this? This guy's not even listening. He just wants to say something anti-Semitic about something.
That happens where people are just like they're listening to another show and then they call in and they want to.
I think he was mistaking me with Rush Limbaugh. I think that's what he was. I think that's probably what happened.
Could be. That could be. Christopher writes, how come you're not mentioning today that it's the closing arguments in the Michael Avenatti extortion trial? I'm talking to you, Brian, you creepy porn lawyer nut hugger.
Nut hugger. Wow, there's a lot of homophobic stuff. What a shocker. These people obsess over a middle-aged attorney, and then they talk about nuts. What a shocker. What a shocker that is.
I think he means that you wear really tight pants.
Well, the fact that he's even going there is very troublesome to me. That's actually the most troubling one of them all. But
you know how our listeners, the ones I should say on YouTube who write in, they're obsessed with Michael Avenatti. We talk about this all the time.
These are the people that are living in their mom's basement with nothing better to do with their time than to obsess over a middle-aged attorney that they've never met before that's living in El Chapo's former jail cell. That these people have nothing better to do with their time.
That being said, Michael Avenatti did choose not to testify.
That is correct.
For himself today.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that is true. And by the way, we have covered the case, and we will continue to cover the case. But we're not going to do 3 hours on the Michael Avenatti Nike trial, so this idiot could be happy about it. We're not going to do that.
And we should have a verdict out later this week. And of course, we've been covering it.
Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least,
hurry, 30 seconds.
Dana. Well, none of your enablers tell you that you look absolutely ridiculous with that on your head. I guess that's a no.
Well, here's what's ridiculous, that she's too dumb. She's too dumb to realize I do this for a reason, not to look handsome and look perfect, but to look ridiculous. That's why I wear this hat. But obviously, this woman is too ignorant to know that.
And at some point in the near future, Brian will be dressed as Bozo the Clown.
It's fine. Dianna,
we'll be having a very,
we're gonna do the
Borat
the Borat swimsuit at some point.
At some point, I will do that. I will shave and I will make sure to clean myself. Diana's going to be bringing some wigs.
My eyes will be shut the entire show.
We got to go. Diana's going to be bringing wigs. I'm going to hold you to that, Dianna. By the way, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
You're awesome.
Anytime.
And
this was fun.
And I hope they hire you. And I want you to come back on our show real soon. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Sean Hannity up next.